Good evening, everyone. How is it going today? Good to see you. It's been a long time. I guess it's been about 1 week since I had a live lesson. I was hoping to do more last week, but my schedule got the best of me. But I'm back, and I think we're going to have a really good lesson today. Today's lesson is going to be all about the verb can. Now, it might sound like this is going to be a very easy lesson, but can be quite difficult at times because we're going to go over the easy way we use can. That's probably the main way. We're going to talk about ability, but we're also going to expand and we're going to learn some different ways we can use can both in the present and in the past. As usual, I will be putting my lesson onto the screen for you guys to see. And I will do that right now, actually. 1 second as I put it on here. Okay, so that is the lesson we were going to be doing today. Can. And I apologize for the noise. There's an ambulance going past my house right now. So I'm just going to wait a little bit and let some people join before I start today's lesson. And once we get a few people online, then we can start. We got Coney. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. How are you doing today? I got your message today. Thank you for sending a message. I'm glad that you did so. And it's good to see you. Thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you as well. What's new, Coney? How was your weekend? This past week in Japan, it was a holiday. It's a week holiday here. It's actually called Golden Week. It's basically there are a bunch of public holidays all sort of at the same time. So they've called this group of holidays where they're all connected. They call it Golden Week. So basically, everybody in the country had about a week off. So it was a nice time, I think, for people to hang out, go out. It's very crowded, though. You made some projects for your photography school. Nice. So you're into photography. That's awesome. That is a really, really, really good career to go into. What is really fun. That's even better. One of my friends is a photographer. And yeah, he has a very, very good career. That is great. I'm glad that it was fun. I'm glad you're doing it. I wish I was better at photography. I'm not very good. But that's okay, I guess. So what we're going to do here is we're going to be looking at can. And can, again, like I said before, it's not that difficult. The one meaning is not difficult. But before we get into can, I want to go over one slang word. And the slang word that we're going to look at today is bagged. The example sentence says, I had a very long day. I'm bagged. I had a very long day. I'm bagged. What do you think bagged means? You know, if we just go by this sentence, I had a very long day, and then it says I'm bagged. What do you think that means? So if you have a very long day, most likely, yeah, Coney, it's like is it like I'm beat? Exactly. It's exactly that. So if you said I'm beat or I'm bagged, it means, like you said right here, Coney, exhausted. Yes, it means you're very, very tired. So I would probably, if I'm speaking, and this is probably Canadian and American English, I would use bagged more often than beat. I don't really say I'm beat. It's okay. I completely understand it, but I would say I'm bagged a lot more. And living in Japan, a lot of my good English speaking friends are actually from Australia. And one thing I learned from Australian English, a lot of them will say this when they're really tired. They will say this sentence, and I'm going to make a banner for it. I'll put it onto the screen. So a lot of Australians will say, I'm knackered. The K is silent here. So they'll say, I'm knackered. I'm knackered, which means I'm very tired. I'm exhausted. And I might say, I'm bagged. Right? I'm beat is also very good. I'll probably say I'm bagged a little bit more. All right, so here, that's a new vocabulary word for you guys to practice. I'm bagged, I'm beat, I'm knackered. Okay. So let's look at today's lesson. And the first one, when we talk about can, we're just talking about ability. It's your ability to do something. All right, so let's make this screen a little bit bigger so you can see. So ability, it means you are able to do something. All right, so anything that you're able to do, we use the verb can. And the easiest way, the pattern is going to be our subject, followed by can, which is a modal verb, and then the main verb. And I've got two example sentences here. I can swim, I can ride a bicycle. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is quite an easy grammar topic. So I can just means I'm able to. Now, of course, you can use negative as well. I can't, he can't. Now, the next one I want to look at is number 2. Can is kind of like an opportunity. And I'm going to expand not only an opportunity, but I'm going to put a comma here, but it's almost like a possibility or giving some options. So possibility and then options. All right, so if you look at the bottom, not only can, but we can use could as well. Can and could both relate to possibilities. Can is for the present tense. And could is for the past possibility. So let's look at an example sentence. So first one is present possibility. It says, I can have a picnic if it doesn't rain. So if it doesn't rain, what are the possibility? What are my options? What opportunities do I have? Well, I can have a picnic. Okay, so that's the present tense for a possibility. Now, below that, we've got could. This is past tense. This sentence says, I could eat whatever I wanted when I was a kid. I could eat whatever I wanted when I was a kid. All right, this doesn't mean now. It means when you were a child. So it was possible for you to eat anything, whatever. And maybe there were no consequences. Maybe now, if you eat anything you want, there could be a consequence. You may gain weight. Your cholesterol might get higher. You might feel bad. But when I was a kid, It was possible to eat whatever I wanted. So we can use could because it's a past possibility. All right, so can here, we've got one meaning. It's what are you able to do? The second meaning is an opportunity or possibility or some options, both present and the past. So let's jump into our exercises. And the first five sentences, we're only going to talk about ability. What are you able to do? What can you do? So the easy part is, of course, you are going to use the word can, but you also must think of the verb. So can plus a verb. That's your job. Find the correct can and verb to fill in the blank. Now remember, the verb must be present tense, no ing, no past tense. Just a regular form of the verb. For example, number 1, it says she something the violin, but she something the drums. All right, she's something the violin, but she something the drums. What do you think your answer is for this? So violin and drums, these are both musical instruments. They're both musical instruments. So we need to use a verb that matches any musical instrument. So of course we're going to put can. She can play the violin. Any musical instrument we play. And then because we've got the word but, we know there must be a contrast, a negative, the opposite. So my answer here would be can't play the drums. She can play the violin, but she can't play the drums. All right, so next, let's look at number 2. And I'm going to make sure that we can fit this on the screen. Okay. I believe you can see all of number 2 on the screen. I studied French for 6 years, so I something it fluently. What is the answer here? All right, so again, keywords here, okay? We're always going to be using can. All right, we're always going to be using can. So I know that the first word is can because we're talking about ability. I studied French for 6 years, so I can something it fluently. Fluently is talking about the the ability of how you can speak. So how do you speak? I speak fluently. So the verb we must use here is can speak. I studied French for 6 years, so I can speak it fluently. Okay, next. Number 3, it says, I need some help with my project. Okay, so we have 2 people talking here. Person A says, I need some help with my project. Person B says, really? Kathy, something, something, you. Something, something, you. All right, and then, of course, we're always going to start. This is only about ability. This is the warm-up. This is really easy. We're only talking about ability. So Kathy can something you. All right, so person A says, I need some help. I need some help. So really, Kathy can help you. So the correct answer here would be help. Kathy can help you. All right. Number 4. Number 4 says, I something for 500 miles without a break. I something for 500 miles without a break. All right. So we know it's going to be can. I can what? What can you do for 500 miles without a break? That means there's no break. You're going to be doing it throughout it consecutively, not stopping. So 500 miles, it can't be running. That would be impossible, I think. Running 500 miles with no break, that would be impossible. It's not going to be walking. So what could we say? If it's 500 miles, it's a very long distance. So most likely it would be drive. I can drive for 500 miles without a break. And number 5. Number 5 says he is a very good artist. He's something very well. All right. We must think of a verb that's related to artist. So he is a very good artist. My answer here would be he can draw very well. Okay, very good. Now, it might seem very easy right now, but like I said, we're just warming up. The first part of this lesson is only about ability. The main part we're going to focus on is about possibility, and that's next. So from number 6, I want you to think what's possible. And if it's present tense, make sure it's can. If it's past tense, make sure it's could. So if I finish my work early, I something you for lunch. If I finish my work early, I something you for lunch. Okay, what is the possibility? What's the opportunity? What is the option? So if I finish my work early, it's contingent on this. All right, that means it depends on this. So if I finish my work early, I something you for lunch. So we're talking about food here. We're talking about food here. We're talking about a meal. So my answer here, and because it's the present tense, if I finish my work early, that means it's present tense. It means it's happening right now. So I'll use present possibility. I can meet you for lunch. If I finish my work early, I can meet you for lunch. So that is possible. It's only possible if I finish my work. All right, number 7. We something tickets for the concert if they're still available. We something tickets for the concert if they're still available. So again, if they equals tickets. All right, they means the tickets. So if the tickets are still available, what is the possibility? All right, so again, we're using present tense here. So if they are still available, so we will use present possibility. We can buy tickets. We can get tickets for the concert if they're still available. Okay, number 8. Number 8, with enough practice, you something proficient in playing the guitar. With enough practice, you something proficient in playing the guitar. We got a very difficult vocabulary word here. Proficient. What does the word proficient mean? What does the word proficient mean? Okay, so proficient means, basically it means that you are skilled in doing something. You are competent in doing something. So I would just say skilled. You're skilled in doing something. You're able to do something. You're able to do it well. All right. So you're skilled in doing something. That's what proficient means. So with enough practice, you something proficient in playing the guitar. So for me, I would say can. With enough practice, you can something proficient in playing the guitar. So that means right now, I'm not proficient. I'm not skilled in playing the guitar. Not yet. But with enough practice, this means with enough practice, this means if I practice enough. If I practice enough, if I practice a lot, then you can become proficient in playing the guitar. With enough practice, you can become proficient in playing the guitar. Okay. And remember, if you have any questions about any of the vocabulary that I haven't gone over, just ask me in the comment section. Anybody who's watching this on the replay, if you weren't able to join live, that's too bad. I hope to see you next time during the live lesson. My next live lesson will be tomorrow night, actually. And technically, it's still today. Today is Thursday, so it will be on Thursday. But for me, it feels like tomorrow night. But Thursday night, 10:35 Japan time. So I hope you can join then. If not, if this is your first time to join, and if you like this lesson so far, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Number 9. If the traffic isn't too bad, we something it to the movie on time. If the traffic isn't too bad, we something it to the movie on time. All right. So we're talking about possibility. It's possible something to the movie on time. So it all depends on the traffic. If the traffic is not bad, that means we have smooth sailing on the road, smooth sailing on the highway or the freeway. So if the traffic isn't too bad, we something it to the movie on time. I really think this it is a key word for this sentence. All right. I really like this sentence. I'm going to put a star here. I think you should remember this sentence for your English. If the traffic isn't too bad, we can make it to the movie on time. I think this is a great phrase for everybody to remember. You make it somewhere. You make it means that you're going to arrive at a location. You're going to arrive at a location. So if I said make it on time, it means I'm going to arrive on time. And on time means I'm not late. I'm punctual. All right, so I'll put that as a banner. Make it on time equals arrive on time. And on time equals to be punctual or not late. All right, so on time equals to be punctual. Punctual means you're not late. That means you arrive exactly when you are supposed to arrive. You're not late. So if the traffic isn't too bad, we can make it to the movie on time. Now, it all depends. It's not 100%. We don't know. It's possible. All right. And number 10, her fitness goals if she sticks to her routine. Okay. Another great sentence, sticks to her routine. Sticks to. This is a great phrase. Sticks to means that you keep your routine. You continue to do it. You don't give up. All right, so you don't stop doing it. All right, so sticks to equals you keep or you continue, you don't stop. So if she continues her exercise routine, she something her fitness goals. All right, so what I'd like you to do for number 10, anybody who's watching live or on the replay, number 10, became all weird. Number 10 is going to be your first homework assignment. Okay, so this is homework assignment question number 1. All right, so please do number 10 for homework. She's something her fitness goals if she sticks to her exercise routine. Of course, because sticks is present tense, we know this is a present possibility. So I'll give you that one hint. You are going to be using can. She can something her fitness goals if she sticks to her exercise routine. All right, so number 10 is for homework. All right, and what we'll do now is we'll move to number 11. And number 11, we're still looking at possibility. But if I read the first part of number 11, it says, when I was a child. When I was a child. This sentence right now, it's telling me it's the past tense. So that means I'll be using past possibility. So that means I'll be using could. Let's put that all onto the screen. So when I was a child, I something my bike without training wheels. I something my bike without training wheels. So it's a little bit bigger. Now, training wheels, these are the wheels. When you are first learning to ride your bicycle, maybe you're 4, 5, 6 years old, you're learning to ride your bicycle, you put special wheels onto your bike. So you're going to have your 2 wheels, your front wheel and your back wheel. And connected to the back wheel, you'll have 2 extra wheels. So you've got kind of the back wheel, and then connected to it, you've got 2 more wheels. Those 2 separate wheels that are connected to your back wheel, those are called training wheels. You're training how to ride a bicycle. So, as I just said, the answer, when I was a child, I could ride my bike without training wheels. When I was a child, I could ride my bike without training wheels. All right, so number 12. Number 12 says, we something outside until the streetlights came on during the summer. All right, so came on, we know again, past tense. So it's past possibility. So we something outside until the streetlights came on during the summer. This is very true for my childhood. This is very true for my childhood. Growing up in Canada, this was very common for all of the children growing up in my neighborhood. So for us, it was we could play outside until the streetlights came on during the summer. Now, in summertime, summer vacation, usually I would leave the house probably in the afternoon, as well as my friends, and we would go out and play. And most times our parents didn't know where we were. We would just go out somewhere to a friend's house or to a park or to a field. We'd make forts. We would do a lot of things. And we knew that when the street lights came on, that was when we needed to be back home. So once the street lights started going on, we would all go home. So, but until that time, we could play outside. It was possible. Number 13, I'll try to leave number 12 on the screen so you can see it. Number 13 says he something his homework quickly when he was in elementary school. He something his homework quickly when he was in elementary school. Maybe now he's in high school and it's not quickly. All right, so again, this is past tense. He could finish his homework quickly when he was in elementary school. Maybe the homework was very easy, so he could finish it easy. It's the possibility. Okay, number 14. Before the accident, she something marathons without any difficulty. So without difficulty. So maybe that means now there is difficulty. So marathons is the key word. This is past possibility. Could run marathons without any difficulties. All right, and number 15, they something to different countries without worrying about visas before the pandemic. So before the pandemic means the current pandemic that we just went through or probably are still going through, the coronavirus pandemic. So this is also going to be past tense. And this is going to be your second question for homework. So homework number 2, please complete number 15 and put it into the comments section. This is for anybody who's watching now. If you're watching now and you want to answer, that's fine. But anybody who's watching the replay, number 15 is for you. Please do it for homework. It's past possibility. They could something to different countries without worrying about visas before the pandemic. Okay, next, let's get to the application part. Let's get to the application part. In the application part, we're not going to worry about ability. We're not going to worry about I can run, I can jump, I can swim, I can speak English, I can speak French, I can speak Japanese. We're not going to worry about that. We're only going to focus on present possibility and past possibility. This is the part of the lesson that you should be very active with. If you've been quiet so far, just listening to the lesson, that's great. But this next part is where you should be actively trying to answer. That's also for anybody who's watching on the replay. So as we go through each of these scenarios, I want you to try making sentences. The more you try, the better your English will become. So in this section, I will give you a situation. I'll give you a scenario. I want you to listen to the scenario as I read it, or read it yourself, and then make a present possibility sentence. I want you to make a sentence about a different option. So you're going to be using can plus a verb. We're talking about opportunity, possibility, and options. I've got an example sentence here for you. Example scenario. You're feeling hungry. All right, so you are feeling hungry, but you don't have any food at home. You're feeling hungry, but you don't have any food at home. All right, I want you to make a sentence talking about the possibilities. What are your options? What are you able, or what can you do? You're hungry, but there's no food at home. My example sentence was, you can Uber some food. You can Uber some food. All right. So here in this situation, Uber has become a verb. All right. I'm not sure where everybody is living who's watching this. In Canada, in the US, and even here in Japan, there is a food delivery service called Uber Eats. It is very, very popular. It's probably the most popular one globally. And in English, when a company or a brand name becomes the common brand or common company that everyone uses, then we use that as a verb. So here you can Uber. Uber now has become a verb. You can Uber some food. All right. Another example of a common company becoming a verb is Google. All right. If somebody is asking you a question and maybe I don't have the answer, maybe I'll say to my friend, you know what? Let me Google it, or you should Google it. All right. So it's a company name that's become a verb. Another one here is this here. In America, this right here, this is actually called a tissue. It's called a tissue. But in Canada and America, the most famous company for this is Kleenex. So I never say tissue. I'll say Kleenex for this. So can you pass me a Kleenex? Kleenex is the main brand. Halls, if you have a sore throat, right? You're going to take some throat lozenge. Then you would just say Halls. Can you pass me a Halls? Can you buy me some Halls? It has become the main word. A Q-tip. That's a very famous company. It's a little tool that cleans your ears. But we use that. We don't say cotton swab. We'll say Q-tip. So certain companies who everybody knows and everybody uses that company, they become the verbs. Okay, now it's your turn. It's your turn. Scenario number one, situation number one, it's raining heavily outside. All right, so it's raining heavily outside. It means it's pouring. It's pouring. This is another word you should know. When it's raining heavily, you can say it's pouring outside. It's pouring. Okay, another one. It's really coming down. It's really coming down outside. This all means raining heavily. If you've read or if you've heard, maybe someone has said it's raining cats and dogs. It's raining cats and dogs. This is a very old idiom. It's a very, very old idiom. No one uses this anymore. So make sure you understand it. It's raining cats and dogs. It means it's raining heavily. You don't need to use it. Most people do not use this. It's quite old. It's pouring outside. It's really coming down. All right, so that's what's happening. It's really coming down. It's raining heavily, and you want to go out. Okay, that's, when it's raining really heavily, most people don't want to go out, but you want to go out. So what are your options? What are your options? What are the possibilities for you? What can you do? All right, so for me, maybe you can bring an umbrella, right? You can drive. You can call an Uber. Okay, again, we're using Uber again. No, I'm not sponsored by Uber. It's just come up. But yeah, you can call an Uber. You can drive. You can bring an umbrella. These are 3 options, 3 opportunities of things you can do. These are the possibilities. There's more. All right, so this is what we're looking at. So let's look at number 2. You have a test tomorrow, but you haven't studied yet. You have a test tomorrow, but you haven't studied yet. All right, what are your possibilities? What can you do? For me, again, there's so many options here. This one here, you can pull an all-nighter. You can pull an all-nighter. All right, so pull an all-nighter. Does anybody know what that means? Pull an all-nighter means to study all night. To study all night. That means you just don't sleep. You're going to wake up all night and just study all night until the test. All right, another thing you could do is you can call in sick. You can call in sick. Okay, so to call in sick, that means you telephone the school and you say, oh, I am so sick, I can't come to school today. All right, if you don't go to school, that means you don't have to take the test. You can take the test another time. All right, so there's 2 options here. You can pull an all-nighter, you can call in sick. I don't recommend this, but you can cheat. You can cheat. It's not a good thing because if you get caught, it's not good. Okay, there's many options of things you can do. So can is introducing all of these options. Okay, so let's look at number 3. I'm going to leave number 2 on the screen. Number 3 says, your friend is feeling stressed about an upcoming presentation because she's not good at it. So this friend, she's not good at presentations, and so she's super stressed. All right, what are her options? What are her possibilities? Many things she can do. You know, if I'm going to support her, maybe I would say she can practice in front of a mirror. She can practice in front of a mirror. Okay. Another option she has is maybe she can ask someone else to give it. Okay, she can ask someone else to give it. And this is really important. I want you to remember when you talk about presentations, if you're talking about a speech, you're going to give a speech. You're going to give a presentation. Okay, so that is the verb that we use. You give a speech, you give a presentation. Yeah, those are 2 options of things she can do. All right, number 4, you're feeling hungry, but it's too late to cook a full meal. It's too late to cook a full meal. All right, so maybe it's like right now. For me right now, it's 12:45 a.m. It's technically Thursday, but I still feel it's Wednesday. It's too late to cook a full meal, but I'm hungry. What are my options? What are the things I can possibly do? I mean, even Uber might be closed. I think most restaurants around my area right now are all closed, so I can't really Uber anything. What are my options? Maybe I can eat some snacks. Okay, and let's change it to you, because it's you are feeling hungry. So I'm giving advice. You can eat some snacks. You can drink some milk. Milk is quite filling. Usually if you drink milk, you get quite full, and you might not be hungry after that. For me, if I'm going to eat some snacks, it's probably potato chips. That's my go-to snack. I love potato chips. All right, so those are the options. I can eat some snacks. I can drink some milk. There's so many options. I can eat some yogurt if I'm trying to be healthy. I can suck it up and go to bed. I can suck it up and go to bed. I can suck it up and go to bed means I just be patient. I just, bear with it and just go to bed. I don't eat anything. I suck it up. Right? That means you're going to bear with it. You fight your urge and then just go to bed. Okay. Number five is going to be homework number 3. Homework number 3. Number 5. The scenario, it says you're planning a trip to the beach next weekend. All right, you're planning a trip to the beach next weekend, but the weather forecast is uncertain. The weather forecast is uncertain. So, what are your options? What can you do? What are your possibilities? All right. So I'll give you my answer, but again, this is your homework. I'd like you to make one sentence at least. Leave it in the comment section, either while you're watching now, or if people on the replay, put it in the comment section of the replay. So for me, you're planning a trip to the beach next weekend, but the weather forecast is uncertain. Maybe you can check the weather forecast the night before. And if it is okay, then you can go ahead and go to the beach. But if it's not okay, you can try a plan B. All right. I want to hear your answer, so leave that in the comment section. Okay. That was all present possibility. All present possibility. Next, we are going to move to past possibility. Past possibility. So with past possibility, make sure your sentences are could plus a verb. Could plus a verb. So scenario number 1. Your grandfather is telling you about his youth when he traveled extensively without any visas. This is very similar to one of the other homework questions. So your grandfather is telling you about his youth when he traveled extensively without any visas. Extensively means a lot. It means frequently. All right. So for me, what were the past possibilities? These are possibilities that we no longer have. So for me, you could travel to many countries without any visas or restrictions. You could travel to many countries without any visas or restrictions, especially now because of the pandemic. But also, I think this was, for me, it was very similar. I'm from Canada, and when I was growing up and all through university, and then even when I left university and I was working, I could go to America without a passport. That was a possibility. I could go to America without a passport. All I needed was my driver's license or some type of ID. But after 9/11, after that terrible terrorist incident in America, all the rules changed, and now I can no longer go to America without a passport. I need a passport to go there. Okay, number 2. Your parents had a lot of free time when they were younger and took a lot of last-minute trips because they didn't have children. Your parents had a lot of free time when they were younger and took a lot of last-minute trips because they didn't have children. Once you have children, it's probably more difficult to take trips. So my sentence for this situation would be, they could travel spontaneously. They could travel spontaneously when they were younger. All right, so my parents, they could travel spontaneously when they were younger. Spontaneously means you can do it without having to have a lot of thought. You don't need to plan something. You just suddenly decide and you go. That's spontaneous. So they could travel spontaneously when they were younger. All right. Number three says your aunt is talking about her childhood and how she learned to ride a bicycle before she was 6. All right, so she is talking about how she learned how to ride a bicycle before she was 6. So for me, this sentence would be, she could ride a bicycle without training wheels when she was 6. She could ride a bicycle without training wheels when she was 6. Hey, Coney. This is, I think, like deja vu. Okay. Nice. Thank you. You're working. You're multitasking. That's great. I'll try to be quiet so your boss doesn't find out. Okay, let's look at number 4. Your dad is talking about how, and I forgot a word here. It should be he. Your dad is talking about how he would be outside all day without his parents knowing where he was. Your dad is talking about how he would be outside all day without his parents knowing where he was. So in this situation, again, the subject is going to be he. He could be outside all day without his parents knowing where. Right, so he could be outside all day without his parents knowing where he was. He could play outside for however long he wanted. His parents couldn't contact him when he was playing outside. Okay, so here we're using couldn't. They couldn't contact him. You know, maybe he didn't have a cell phone. Maybe there were no cell phones at that time. So They couldn't contact him. It was not a possibility. Okay, and number five. I like this one. This is going to be the last homework. Homework number 4. It says, and it's not really a scenario. This is something I want you to tell me about. What are some different technologies from the past that we no longer can use now? We could use them. We could do this in the past, but we can't now. For example, I've got my example sentence right here. It says, people could communicate using only landline phones before the widespread use of smartphones. Or even, we could even say cell phones. So people could communicate using only landline phones. All right, so a landline phone, if anybody wants to know, it's the old phone that was connected to our house. It's connected to the wall in our house, and you either had to press buttons, or maybe in your parents' day and age, they had the rotary phone where they're rotating to make a telephone call. So that was what we could do. We can't do that anymore. Maybe some people can use a rotary phone, but it's not very likely. It's not so possible anymore. So what are some other things that you could do in the past, but you can't now? And if you want, it can be technology, but it doesn't have to be only technology. If you want to talk about any type of activity, any possibility in the past but not now, that's okay. For instance, I just thought of it. People could smoke on airplanes in the past. People could smoke on airplanes in the past. That's definitely not possible now. It used to be possible. So people could smoke on airplanes in the past. People could smoke pretty much anywhere in the past, but not anymore. But it also depends on where you live. In Canada, definitely no. You cannot smoke anywhere pretty much these days. US is probably the same. Japan is getting there. Tokyo is probably better than any other city. But yeah, that's a past possibility. So it doesn't have to be only technology. If you want, you could talk about any action that we could do in the past, but not now. So this will be your 4th sentence for homework. All right. So that leaves me with any final questions. Today, I wanted to look at can, but I wanted to look at it from a different point of view. We did warm up. We did talk about ability. I can run, dance, swim, jump. But mainly, I wanted to focus on present and past possibilities. I really like it with the present possibility. I like to use this when you're giving options. If you're working at a company, let's say you're having a meeting and you're brainstorming, you're thinking of ideas of what to do, maybe some next action. This is where we would use it. You would say, oh, well, we can advertise here, or we can do this. We can launch the product early. All right. Can is talking about all of these possibilities. Living here now in Tokyo, especially right now, the Japanese yen is very, very weak. So there are a lot of tourists. There are so many tourists. So when I'm going to my school, which is in the center of Tokyo, I will run into a lot of tourists. And a lot of times they'll ask me some advice. They'll ask me questions like, well, what can we do? It's a beautiful day, or we want to see a lot of culture. What can we do? And so I give them options. So you can do this, you can do that, you can go here, you can eat that. These are all options. It's not about ability, it's not about what you can do, not about what you're able to do, but it's about the possibilities, the options. So I'd like you to make sure you use can. It's not only used for ability. So make sure you take a note of that. And if you have any questions about that, just let me know in the comments section. All right. So also remember, anybody who's watching this on the replay, there are 4 things to do for homework. Make sure you do those. The more active you are with doing homework, with speaking, with writing, with typing, the better your English will become. And I know there's some people online right now. So if anybody has any questions right now, please let me know, and I can do my best to answer it as clear as possible. But if there are no questions, then we will call this the end of today's lesson. Remember, I will be doing a lesson later tonight, technically Thursday night. It is Thursday morning here technically, but it's, you know, it's 1 a.m. here in Tokyo. I'll be doing a lesson 10, I believe 10:35. Let me check my schedule. 10:45 p.m. Japan Standard Time. I'll be doing another lesson. So if you have any questions for then, you can always ask me then. Hopefully you guys can join. And it looks like there are no questions. So let's call it a lesson for today. And I hope to see you guys all in the next lesson, which is going to be later tonight or tomorrow, whenever, whatever time it is for you. Coney, thank you so much for multitasking, for working and joining the lesson. I really appreciate it. I hope it was useful for you. And it's always my pleasure. All right, guys. Until tonight, or kind of like tomorrow, I'll see you guys all in the next lesson. See ya.